What's up and welcome to the Gift of Gaming podcast. On this week's episode, it is in fact May news. So sit back, relax, and let us regale you with everything that happened in May. What's up, it's me, your host, Darren Wade, and today I'm joined by the console-hating, PC-playing, lore-seeking, full-time Canadian himself, Chris Robbins. Chris.
What's going on?
We were also meant to be joined by the Mr. Xbox Games Pass himself, Luke Maycock, because I know he's currently subscribed. But he is MIA.
Potentially hungover.
Potentially severely hungover, we believe. And when this episode, so we pre-record, but by the time this episode comes out, for those who are listening, happy Switch 2 release day.
Oh, shit. Yeah. It's the 5th, right?
The 5th, yeah. Which one will be releasing this episode on the day, yeah.
We record that. Oh, yeah. I guess that's me. I always want to do weekends.
Yeah, you want to get in early beforehand. But I don't know if I was saying to you, Chris, there is a midnight release of the Switch 2 in Smiths, which is where I pre-ordered mine. So I'm hopping down for a midnight release.
I haven't done a physical midnight release since, I think, GTA 4.
Yeah, me
lining up outside of EB Games back in Canada.
EB Games, because that's the New Zealand have EB Games as well.
Yeah, Electronic Boutique, which is an offshoot of GameStop.
Yeah, it's still the same parent company. But yeah, me and Craig were talking about memories we had of previous midnight releases. But GTA 4 was your last one?
I think so. Might have been, could have been a Halo actually. I don't know. I don't know years of games too well, but I feel like it might be GTA 4. No, because I didn't get GTA 4 on release. Yeah, it must have been a Halo.
Yeah. They're fun. I'm looking forward to it. You know, popping down quite late, picking up my Switch.
Oh, it was a Halo. I can't remember which one, but one of our buddies actually picked it up. But there was 4 of us because we were going to go right home and play split screen multiplayer.
Yeah,
and
this
is when we found out they got rid of like the 4-player split screen multiplayer.
That wasn't Halo 3 then, sure? It wasn't Halo 3.
Might have been 3, yeah.
Oh,
fuck. We were
livid.
Furious. Yeah.
What a waste of your evening.
Yeah.
But have you been playing anything currently, Chris?
Yeah, I have. What do we got? I actually just platinumed Bugsnax.
No way.
Yeah, oddly enough. Weirdly charming game, man. It has the voice acting too. Like, it has no business being as good as it was.
That is outrageous.
I really enjoyed it. It's fucking weird as shit though. It's like, it looks like a kid's game, but it's not.
I remember because it came out and it was just really conceptually it was a very strange idea for a game.
Very weird, yeah. So platinum that. Me and my other buddy had been playing a bit of Windblown again.
Okay, nice.
And then that took a backseat because Night Rain just released, and we've been playing the shit out of that.
I have heard mixed.
Very mixed.
Very
and
mixed.
I knew it was going to happen because this isn't... I don't know why people are so disappointed because they delivered exactly what they said they were, pretty much. Or there are bad points about the game. I'll get into those in a second, but like they pretty much delivered exactly what they say they were going to, but people are just disappointed. Like, this isn't the Dark Souls experience I like. And it's just like, well, they told you what you were getting, man.
Because it's roguelike, right?
Roguelike, like kind of, I don't want to say Battle Royale because it's not co-op, but it's got that like Fortnite closing. And it's just like, it's very fast paced. It feels like what the evolution of endgame Souls like should be, just like high octane boss rush in co-op, and which is exactly like why I play the Souls games. So for me, it's fucking amazing.
Because people were saying that it's cruel in that, and if you're into it, in that like you will have to go through all of this, like the build up, and then you're met with a classic Souls like boss. But if you lose, that'll just and then you're right back to
lose. Like, it is easily the hardest like Souls experience, especially for like a new player. Like, I don't think you wouldn't
jump in on this. Yeah.
And there are other issues that like are completely justifiable for the complaints they're getting, which is because this is a multiplayer first game, and they've made some wild choices. First of all, I mean, the matchmaking is a bit broken, but that's just every multiplayer game that's ever released is like at like launch date. Things are always going to be broken. It's no company's gotten it right that I can think of. The other one is no voice chat still, which I mean is fine for me.
Souls like in terms of like needing to be, I'm assuming, somewhat cooperative, right?
Yeah. Well, the Souls like in the traditional Souls-like experience works perfect for not having a voice chat, because you are kind of just like summoning some sort of like previous hero into your world that like you can put your summon sign, like I'll help you through this part. This is what I'm going to do. And there's also like gestures and stuff you can do, and it's also very slow paced. You don't really have to communicate that much. So in that sense, like it made sense in the originals, but in this one, it's just too fast paced. You have to have communication. Fortunately, like me and my buddy are on Discord.
Yeah.
But we always have to have a random with us, so we're relying entirely on the ping system, which isn't bad. But the other issue is, so you can queue solo, which you're going to be at a huge disadvantage because it's just not built for that.
It doesn't change difficulty based on.
No.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's tough. And then you can play 3-player. So me and my buddy play, and then we have to get matched up with a third random. And we have to get matched up because duo queue isn't an option, which is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
And the third big fuck you, which they've cracked since, I want to say Dark Souls 3, is there's no more cross-platform, which is just fucked. Like, it's almost unacceptable. Like, it's pretty much unacceptable, especially in Elden Ring, like core Elden Ring. You had cross-platform.
And I think we're at a stage now where that is no longer a pipe dream for people, but an expectation.
Yeah, absolutely.
For games. Yeah.
I think maybe it'll be like a future update, because I can't imagine it being too difficult since they've already fucking figured that out before. So yeah, and it is essentially, I'll call it an asset flip, because I mean they are reusing a lot of the old assets and stuff, which, to be honest, I kind of love, because you have to fight
stuff
like
you're
3
familiar
bosses. With. Yeah, but then they'll throw like one of these mid bosses. They'll throw like I got into a fight, and it turned out it was the Smelter Demon, which is Dark Souls 2, which I haven't fought in like 10 years. I was like, oh my god, he's back!
Nice, okay.
So it was exciting to see like the history of Souls bosses.
Yeah, I was about to say a cool thing for them to be able to do to kind of just throw these guys back in for a roguelike multiplayer experience.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So
that. I'm enjoying it. I'm on the side of I got exactly what I expected, and I'm happy with it.
Nice. As for myself,
it's no game of the year, though. I can tell you that now. It's guaranteed not.
Speaking of game of the year, I think I'm just about to finish what should be game of the year, unless we get anything else absolutely astonishing in. But I'm at the very end of Expedition 33. I was just hopping around some end game, late game dungeons, and I'm setting myself up tonight to sit down maybe with a beer and some crisps and finish it off. Yeah, it's my plan this evening. I've loved that game. I have. Me and Craig did the Games Club on it, and the first like 40 minutes there was just gushing about the game. And it's funny for him because he even started off the episode, like we call him the critical, because he just
tried.
He just craps on everything. He gave it, like we both had the exact same points about UI isn't exactly the most eye-catching, and it's a little bit hard to navigate.
Wasn't that just like the Persona inspiration? Like
Persona
I always thought Persona was way too overwhelming. Like one of the reasons I never picked it up.
It's an art style. Do you know what I mean? It's an art style. Not for everybody. But no, we kind of gushed about it for 40 minutes, and Craig had very little to complain about, which is very unlike him, which goes to show you, I think, how good a game it is if Craig can sit back and just maybe not crap on it for a while. But looking forward to finishing that. But we've got news to talk about today, Chris. News in May. The first one I want to talk about is one that Luke wanted to make sure we talked about, but Luke's not here. But we'll go through it anyway. This is EA and Star Wars Battlefront 2. This is coming from Lee D'Amato and Screen Rant. Earlier this week, I booted up Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the first time since 2017. I'd seen the news. Player counts for DICE's Battlefield-style Star Wars set shooter were on the rise, and no one really knew why. I figured I had nothing to lose. I'd been a big fan of the original Battlefront 2 and had enjoyed the first of the reboot series well enough. I'd also been around for the disastrous launch of its sequel, though, so I was a little bit skeptical. I'd lost and sold my original copy somewhere in the aftermath of that debacle, but hey, it was on Games Pass. What I found almost immediately was that Star Wars Battlefront 2 is an entirely different game today from what it was 8 years ago. I was immediately thrust into a chaotic battle on Naboo. I followed my squad, I captured points, I unlocked new characters and vehicles, and I loved every second of it. Sometime in the past 8 years, Battlefront 2 had become good, and no one had told me. Now I'm here to find out exactly when and how. Star Wars Battlefront 2 was first released in 2017 to mixed reviews from critics and outrage from fans. It had a number of issues, but chief among them was the structure of its reward system and microtransactions. Battlefront 2 had a system of loot crates, bundles that gave players random rewards that aren't tied to their performance in-game. These were as controversial then as they are now, but today, most loot crates only grant cosmetic items. Back then, loot crate rewards could actually affect your gameplay. That's because crates often contain star cards, equipable perks for your characters in Battlefront 2. Star cards had a variety of different effects, increasing the power of your skills, restoring your HP when you eliminate an enemy, etc. But in the launch version, what you got was based on the luck of the draw. The only way to improve your odds was to get more loot crates, which you could do easily by spending real-world money.
Yeah.
So already it was becoming apparent that the more you spent on the game, the higher likelihood you had of obtaining high-level power items that gave you a significant advantage in battle. In other words, Battlefront 2 was pay to win, which likely would have been enough to deter a large subset of players in and of itself. But then there was the hero system. In Battlefront 2, once you've accrued enough battle points, you can cash them in to play as a more powerful character, usually a recognizable figure from the Star Wars movies like Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader. These are called heroes. Heroes have unique abilities and higher maximum HP. They're not all powerful, but they represent a significant advantage to the team that summons them. Moreover, they are arguably a major part of the game's draw. Most players bought Battlefront to play as a Jedi or a Sith Lord, not anonymous droid number 3568. Battle points are easy enough to earn by playing the game. The issue was that in the launch version of Battlefront 2, you had to pay 60,000 credits just to unlock high-profile heroes. You could earn credits through gameplay, but it would take tens of hours to earn enough to unlock Vader or Skywalker. Otherwise, you could simply buy the credits required with real money. This led to widespread outrage among the Battlefront 2 community, and EA felt compelled to respond. I read a thread by MBM Maverick expressing a frustration over their inability to play Darth Vader after spending $80 on the deluxe edition of the game. Received a now infamous comment from the official EA community team. I'm going to read this out. I couldn't, the article had lost it, but I managed to find it on Reddit and took a screenshot. So this is from MBM Maverick. Seriously, I paid $80 to have Vader locked. This is a joke. I'll be contacting EA support for a refund. I can't even fucking play Darth Vader. Disgusting. The age of microtransactions has gone way too far. Leave it to EA to stretch the boundaries. And the EA community team responded to him, which has now become, I think, I'm not quite sure currently, but at the time was the Guinness Book of Records for the most downvoted comment ever on Reddit.
Okay, all right.
So this is their response to MB's Maverick's complaint. The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As for cost, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we're looking at average per player credit earn rates on a daily basis, and we'll be making constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges that are compelling, rewarding, and of course, attainable via gameplay. We appreciate the candid feedback and the passion the community has put forth in the current topics here on Reddit, our forums, and across numerous social media outlets. Our team will continue to make changes and monitor community feedback and update everyone as soon and as often as we can. This comment achieved a record of 668,000 downvotes, and I mean literally a record. It made the Guinness World Records in 2020 for most downvoted comment ever on Reddit. Pride and accomplishment became something of a buzzword among the community, used to poke fun at the game's rampant microtransactions and the publisher's lackluster response. Thinking its reputation unsalvageable, players, myself included, wrote the game off in droves, cancelled their pre-orders, and barely thought about it for years. The article goes on. Between that and the Battlefront Classic Collection debacle, I assume Battlefront was basically a defunct series until last week, but no. DICE has been quietly making improvements to Battlefront 2 in the years since, and it's actually become a decent game. These improvements began just a month after release, when the cost of unlocking its most powerful heroes was slashed from 60,000 credits a pop to 15,000, and then later in 2018, all heroes were unlocked for free. You can now play as Darth Vader as soon as you earn the requisite battle points. Around the same time, Battlefront 2 also made changes to its progression reward system. You can't buy loot crates anymore, although you can receive them through gameplay, and what's inside is always cosmetic, never functional. Star cards are no longer obtained through loot crates either. Now you unlock them through a much more typical and less predatory skill point system. Battlefront 2 still has microtransactions, but they're entirely optional, even if you want to play the game at the highest level possible. You can now buy a premium currency called crystals with real world money, but crystals can only be exchanged for cosmetics as well. Returning to Battlefront 2, I've discovered that buried under all the controversy, they were the makings of a good game. I've certainly had fun with it the past few days. It's not hard to see why, even though not much has really changed about the gameplay since Battlefront 2 was released. Lots of new content has been added, sure, but at its core, it's still a solid FPS invested with a well-executed Star Wars coat of paint. Even though I'm not a big FPS player, I've always had a soft spot for the more strategic heart of the Battlefield series, and I grew up playing every Star Wars video game I could get my hands on. So for me, it's a match made in heaven. Being able to fly X-Wings over Hoth, making bombing runs over enemy bases, sending blaster bolts back at enemies with expert twists of my lightsaber, rolling around as a droideka, then deploying my shield and firing those characteristic double-barrel blasts flying, it's a smorgasbord of Star Wars fun. Battlefront 2 is intense and cinematic just like the films it's based on, and always was that way. My judgment was just clouded by my justified frustration over its rampant microtransaction and unfair methods of progression. Chris, do you think EA has ever learned from this?
No, God, no. I don't care. They really don't care.
And it's so sad to see that what was a very good game at its core was, because I played Battlefront, the first one that came out by EA.
The first one was wild. Like, it was so exciting. It was like large scale fights. If you die, you just take control of another just random stormtrooper.
Yeah, and are you talking about the old, like the original ones?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever played anything past that.
Because the rebooted Battlefront that they did, the one before this one that EA took control of, was decent. It didn't have the same kind of love or kind of soul that the original ones had, but I still thought it was a great game. But I didn't get Battlefront 2 at the time, like this new one that they're talking about, and the moment I heard it was a microtransaction hell, I never touched it. And it's funny because had they not included that, they probably would have had an extra purchaser in me, because I really enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, I actually don't mind cosmetic microtransactions at all, but like paying for power is just, it's so broken. It ruins the game, really. Like, if you're not some rich kid with like your parents' credit card, you just can't win.
Yeah,
so
and the idea,
that's the problem with like most mobile games too.
They're all pay to win.
Yeah,
which sucks. But yeah, I'm happy that it's because that was Luke put it up on the chat to see, can we talk about this one, and I was kind of like, oh, and I had a look at a few little articles about it, and I was like, oh, there's actually. People seem to be really loving Battlefront 2, which, I mean, it's 2017. I thought it was a dead game, to be honest.
Well, it's nice. Yeah, once they make everything free and just like, now we can all have the same experience at the same budget. Yeah. Amazing.
Terrible. This next article, Chris, is more EA bad news. We're on a little EA beatdown this month, I'm afraid. So this is EA closes Cliffhanger Games and cancels Black Panther. This is coming from Rebecca Valentine at IGN. Electronic Arts is cancelling its planned Black Panther game and shutting down developer Cliffhanger Games, IGN has learned. In an email sent to staff from EA Entertainment President Laura Miele said that these changes, alongside other recent cancellations and layoffs, are being done to, quote, sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities, end quote. In addition to closing Cliffhanger and cancelling Black Panther, EA is also laying off some individuals on both its mobile and central teams. When asked for the exact number of individuals impacted, EA declined to comment. IGN understands the total number of affected individuals in this wave is less than the roughly 300 roles cut last month across Respawn and EA's fan care teams, but cannot confirm by how much. Quote, these decisions are hard, Miele wrote. They affect people we've worked with, learned from, and shared real moments with. We're doing everything we can to support them, including finding opportunities within EA where we've had success helping people land in new roles, end quote. As a past round layoffs, EA is endeavouring to place affected individuals in other roles across the company. The company has made use of this placement program with each round of layoffs in recent years, an effort that remains possible despite the constant team cuts likely due to EA seemingly drastically increasing headcount on other teams at the same time. Per GameFile's reporting, EA employed 800 more people as of March of this year than it did in the same time in 2024. To that end, Miele's email continues. The company is focusing on a small handful of franchises going forward: Battlefield, The Sims, Skate, and Apex Legends. Miele also reassures EA will continue to invest in its Iron Man game at Motive and the third Star Wars Jedi game, as well as it maintains its mobile business despite today's cuts. The email doesn't mention EA Sports, but this is due to Miele running EA Entertainment, while EA Sports is a separate division. IGN understands that the sports division is unaffected by these changes for now. Additionally, IGN understands that the current intention is for BioWare to continue working on Mass Effect. Thank God. Last year, CEO Andrew Wilson announced the company would be, quote, moving away from development of future licensed IPs we do not believe will be successful in our changing industry, end quote. But notably, Marvel and EA's agreement for Black Panther was part of a 3-game deal that included Iron Man and a third unannounced title. IGN understands this partnership will continue with Motive Studios leading the future Marvel titles. EA provided the following statement regarding the deal with Marvel to IGN, attributed to Mael. Quote, our partnership with Marvel remains strong and our multi-title long-term collaboration continues, end quote. Little has been shown of Black Panther so far since its announcement in 2023, though we know from a job listing it was to be a single-player action-adventure open-world game. Black Panther was developed by the newly formed, now closed Cliffhanger Games, which was formed in 2023 with some former developers of Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor and headed up by Kevin Stevens. These cuts come on the heel of other multiple rounds of layoffs and cancellations at EA over the last few years, especially in 2025. Just last month, EA laid off roughly 300 individuals, including around 100 at Respawn, while cancelling an in-development Titanfall game and another incubation project. Earlier this year, EA restructured BioWare, moving some developers to other projects and laying off others. And in 2024, there was a massive restructuring at EA that resulted in 670 workers laid off company-wide. Meanwhile, EA recently implemented mandatory return to office for all workers, a move that some employees told IGN has left many currently remote workers with concerns about what will happen to their roles long-term.
Yeah.
When asked for comment on either exact number impacted, the reasons for these repeated cuts, or if more cuts are expected in the near future, EA referred IGN back to Mael's email. Marvel has not yet responded to IGN requests for comment. The return to work move, I think, is a classic way to get people to actively leave the role as opposed to being fired. Right?
Actively leave the role too, and it just also kind of this day and age, it triggers some kind of like red flags in my head. It was just like, this company would be terrible to work for because they just want you under their thumb and micromanaging you.
Yeah.
There's just something about forcing you back in the office when we've already proven that we can work just as efficient from home.
Yeah. Big red flag. But yeah, I think the Black Panther being cancelled is not a surprise for me, considering what is very clearly superhero fatigue, given that Thunderbolts, which I just went to see, which I really, really enjoyed, is the second lowest performing Marvel movie. And it's been highly rated, but I guess people just aren't keen on them anymore.
Yeah, I also don't know what what innovation would Black Panther as the superhero bring. Like, I get like why Spider-Man games are so successful, because that's a very like unique experience that you're only going to get with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But, like Black Panther, Captain America, they're just going to be brawler
Whoa.
games,
You
man.
lay off Captain America now.
You know what I'm saying. It's essentially the same archetype, just like really strong super soldier that can beat people up.
And the thing about it is, if someone said to me, would you prefer a linear narrative-driven Captain America movie or an open world, Captain America game or an open world Captain America game, I would say, linear. Why would you ever go near open world for that? That has to be linear.
Yeah, he's not your friendly neighborhood Captain America.
Yeah, I'm not swinging from buildings. I'm just like, rocking around on my motorbike. It's not the same. So a Black Panther open world game was a probably brave decision, not one that I would have chosen myself, and clearly I guess the vision hasn't worked and it has closed. But yeah, it's crap to see. And EA, as I said, getting everybody to come back to the office is such a classic corporate, we need more people gone, but we'd rather not fire them for the bad publicity, so we're going to force
fire them. And like the moment you fire someone, you have to pay them, right? So severance,
not firing, letting people go. Essentially, you got to give them some sort of severance package. Yeah. So you go. EA has not been great. But I thought what I'd do is I put those two sad EA news stories in, Chris, and followed up with a positive Kingdom Hearts story.
Oh, okay. I think I heard something.
Because I don't, it's not often I get to give updates on Kingdom Hearts, but here we go. This is coming from Can Saren at Games Radar Plus. Square Enix has finally ended the Kingdom Hearts 4 news drought and ever so slightly pulled the curtain back with some new screenshots. The Disneyverse spanning RPG was announced a whopping 1,131 days ago. I've been keeping count. And aside from vague lore drops from director Tetsuya Nomura, publisher Square Enix has been relatively mute about the upcoming game. This is until now. Squeenix just dropped a collage of screenshots from the game showing Sora duking it out with some Heartless in Tokyo while donning a new Keyblade. Fresh renders of a brand new character called Strelitzia, a weirdly close shot of a random telephone that, knowing the series, is probably crucial to the plot, and a confirmation that we'll once again be able to play as King Mickey Mouse, at least in one section. Quote, we're currently working hard on Kingdom Hearts 4 and will continue pouring ourselves into the game's development, end quote. Square Enix writes via a Blue Sky update. We're dedicated to making this an experience that lives up to your expectations. We've seen how excited you are, and we are truly grateful from the bottom of our hearts, it continues. We are equally excited and can't wait to share more about Kingdom Hearts 4 when the time is right. Until then, we appreciate your patience. Thank you for your continued support. The update comes hot off the cancellation of Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, the mobile spin-off that promised to tie in to the next full, fat mainline game. So perhaps the publisher was trying to alleviate fans' concerns about the state of the series. And it worked. Kingdom Hearts sickos immediately mobilized to dissect every last detail in all of the screenshots.
Kingdom Hearts sickos.
Seriously, some people have already geolocated Sora's whereabouts in Tokyo, meaning the map might be closer to its real-world counterpart than anyone was expecting. Now, can someone actually try to explain what the heck is up with that telephone? Chris, I'm delighted. They cancelled Missing Link, which was a game that I probably wasn't going to play initially, but there'd been lots of development into that, and they had said that it would be, in classic Kingdom Hearts fashion, really important to the actual story of the main series. So when they cancelled that, I was like,
really important.
But yeah, we have Kingdom Hearts 4 screenshots. What I will say though is, Chris, I'm not overly sold on the looks of I can't remember what the name of the city that this is meant to be based in. It's like a what would you say, a fictional version of
the big gray and blocky.
Yes, of Tokyo or one of the cities there or towns in that place, and it's super realistic, and I don't like that look for Sora, but people are saying that that's just one of the worlds, whereas after that you go back to maybe hopefully normal looking Sora.
I don't know. I'm kind of into it, to be perfectly honest, because let's be honest, we've all the current Kingdom Hearts fans, we've grown up too. So it's nice to see him grow up into be a bit more of a
realistic looking
character. And
no more goofy shoes.
Yeah, please no more goofy shoes. And the other thing about that world is I think it's part of the actual world design. I bet you, because Disney's very colorful and whimsical, and I bet you, like, I don't know, something is going to happen and like portions of that world is going to change as the game progresses and might become more Disney and upbeat and colorful.
I would love to agree with you, but I think from my deep research into where Kingdom Hearts is going, and after finishing Kingdom Hearts 3 and getting the secret ending for Kingdom Hearts 3, Tetsuya Nomura had a failed Final Fantasy project known as Versus 13, which eventually turned into Final Fantasy 15. And ever since then, I think he has been a bit disappointed that his project was pulled, or he was pulled from that project, essentially. But Kingdom Hearts 3 had lots of nods to the 4 original characters that he had designed for Final Fantasy 15. There's a knock. I mean, one of the secret bad guys that you fight at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 is a character called Yozora, who is essentially just Noctis, and then he has 3 companions in a video game world within Kingdom Hearts that look exactly like Prompto, Gladius, and Ignis. So I have a funny feeling that he is pulling away from the Final Fantasy, which was true for Kingdom Hearts 3. There was hardly any Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3, and I think he's just using this as a Disney-infused Final Fantasy Versus 13 project, which I'm not overly happy with. I'd rather just let that die and just make Kingdom Hearts. But I think the city is there to provide a backdrop for what was his failed project.
I mean, it's kind of weird, because what is Kingdom Hearts if you don't have those other characters, like the pre-existing characters, like from Disney and like the other Final Fantasies?
Yep. And it's what
otherwise it might as well just be a completely different series.
Exactly, which is where, and now in fairness, this is what is being considered a soft reboot for the Kingdom Hearts series, because there is there was an ending to Kingdom Hearts 3, an ending that I quite liked now, I have to say, but it is considered a soft reboot for the Kingdom Hearts series that they will be going with down with like a brand new kind of storyline. They had arcs. I don't know what the previous arc was called, the Keyblade Wars arc or the Master arc. I can't remember, but this is a new arc now for Kingdom Hearts, and I don't know where it's going. But we did see in the original trailer they released, we did at the very end get at least a tiny glimpse of Goofy and Donald being hunted by Hades from Hercules.
Dope.
So we still have some of that. And if the Disney stuff is still prevalent, I'm happy, but I would be very sad if we didn't get especially like Final Fantasy 7 Remake's been out, Final Fantasy 7 16 or Final Fantasy 16's been out. We've got new characters introduced into the story in new ways from the Final Fantasy side of things, and I would love for them to keep that up.
Disney's also picked up a lot of new IP since the last one.
Star Wars,
Alien too. Like, isn't Alien?
I
think that's new since the last Kingdom Hearts,
Marvel. in terms of
Marvel. Yeah, like we could see some nutty shit, man.
If Sora was if I had Captain America on my team in a Avengers style Kingdom Hearts world, I would be over the moon.
No, he would be like Goofy's outfit or something, I think.
Yeah, Goofy
Goofy
got the shield.
Right?
Yeah, he'd arrive as Captain America. Donald Duck as, I don't know, who uses magic in the world, Doctor Strange or something like that. But like the lightsaber keyblade, like all those kind of things, there's so much stuff that can be done there in the new Kingdom Hearts that I think they'd be foolish not to invest in those new IPs. But yeah, it still exists, Chris. It still exists and it's still in development, which is good to know.
Yeah, it also depends on like if Disney's still on board for like. I mean, Disney's got Disney money now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And as Kingdom Hearts has been a popular series for them, so I hope that it's the same for Kingdom Hearts 4 and we get it. I don't know. Summer Games Fest is around the corner, Chris. Hopefully an announcement there, some sort of trailer. That'd be nice.
You think that's big enough?
Excuse me? Maybe not. I'd love it to be, but Summer Games Fest is a bit of everything, you know.
I think they'll hold out for
Game Awards. Yeah, maybe the same kind of crowd. We'll wait and see, but I'm hopeful.
Maybe it'll be Evo, and it's actually Kingdom Hearts 4 is just a fighting game now.
It's so super competitive. I'd be so annoyed if that's how they went with it.
Platform fighter.
Yeah. We go on to our next story. Is Bungie's marathon is a mess, and
yeah, this one. More depressing news.
I've included two stories into this, two articles into this, because the mess covers a plethora of different issues. We'll go to the first article, which is on the game post from Zuad Ali. A former Bungie developer says Marathon's leadership was, quote, extremely toxic and humiliating, end quote, calling for a complete overhaul of studio leadership as the studio faces heavy criticism and ongoing morale issues. Bungie's upcoming extraction shooter Marathon has faced plenty of controversy and skepticism in recent weeks, and the situation just seems to keep getting worse. With negative first impressions from the closed alpha playtest, a huge art theft scandal, and growing reports of morale collapse behind the scenes, it's clear that Marathon's development hasn't been smooth. Big changes to marketing and playtest plans have only added to the uncertainty. What's even more concerning is that these problems aren't just being pointed out by critics on the outside, they've been coming from inside the studio for a long time. Many developers working on Marathon have reportedly raised their concerns over the years, especially about the push to keep the game focused on PvP and PvE. Luke's just let us know that he slept entirely through his alarm. Despite these repeated warnings, Bungie's leadership is said to have brushed off the feedback and refused to reconsider their approach. The latest blow came from a former Bungie developer who worked on Marathon, known online as Spirited, who shared a comment about his experience on social media. On Sunday, Spirited posted on Blue Sky saying, quote, as a former Bungie employee who worked on Marathon, I feel those at the studio working with engineering Marathon leadership was extremely toxic and humiliating. I won't speak about the rest, but Bungie leadership needs to be gutted completely. An update from May 20th. It seems that Spirit has deleted his comments on X and Blue Sky at this stage, but Spirit had worked at Bungie as a senior software engineer from June 2022 to May 2024 per his LinkedIn profile. His comments shed more light on what appears to be a deeply troubled work environment. In his own words, he described the daily reality of working under leadership as extremely toxic and humiliating, making it clear that the issues are not just about the project's direction, but about how the teams are treated on a personal level. This isn't the first time Spirit has been open about his experiences at Bungie. Last year, after the studio laid off more employees, he said he left Bungie because their leadership is the worst I've worked with, he quotes. He described rampant micromanagement, frequent toxicity, and violations of their core values, and no ability to execute on their multi-franchise vision. Every day was a fight for autonomy and trust, said Spirited. Every day was someone telling me I'm not allowed to speak on any issue or problem in a professional tone. It was on our minds since the last layoffs in October 23. We asked Pete, and his response was that it was a lever he'd pull again. They'd need to flush out leadership completely. My team was excellent, but it felt like everything else prevented us from doing anything meaningful. He also pointed out that repeated layoffs have only pushed the studio to rely more on contractors and even AI, making things even more difficult for the full-time staff. Quote, so when I hear that they laid off another round of my talented colleagues and friends, I feel angry. They're not at fault. They're the ones who need to be they're not the ones who need to be canned. And every round only strengthens their reliance on contractors and AI. End quote. He's not alone in speaking out. Other former Bungie staff have publicly criticised leadership in recent months. Notably, Leanna Ruppert, Bungie's former community manager, also called out issues with leadership after getting laid off in October 2023, further adding to the chorus of voices calling for major changes at the top. I find it strange, Chris, that you would go ahead and fire people and then get in contractors and AI and make the whole thing a giant mess from top to the bottom.
This article isn't actually what I thought we were going to talk about at all, though.
Were you going to talk about the
asset stealing and stuff like that?
That's the next one I have for
Oh, okay. We have two. Okay, so
do you want me to jump into this one and we can
let's just jump and then we'll just pick Bungie apart entirely at once.
So this is also from the Game Post coming from Abdullah Jawad. So Marathon's art director, Joseph Cross, has addressed the recent art plagiarism controversy live, issued a direct apology, and outlined what Bungie is doing to fix it. The Marathon community has been rocked by plagiarism claims this week after the digital artist Anti-Real accused Bungie of using her original artwork without permission in the game's closed alpha. When the story first broke, Bungie responded by confirming that some unauthorized assets did make it into the game. I'll just bring the article down here. Now, during the highly anticipated Play MA developer livestream, franchise art director Joseph Cross appeared on the stream to directly address the controversy and offer a personal apology. During the livestream, Joseph Cross gave a clear and personal statement about the situation. He explained that in the early pre-production phase of Marathon, an artist working on the team took graphic elements from Anti-Real, a graphic designer, without asking or giving credit. These elements were added to a decal sheet in 2020 and ended up in the alpha build that has since been shared with testers and the community. Cross admitted there was, quote, absolutely no excuse for this oversight, and said Bungie is now reviewing all of the work by the artist with a special focus on environment decals. He confirmed the team is delaying some content reveals to make sure every asset is properly sourced or recreated. In the past 24 hours, Bungie has already reached out to Anti-Real and started a broad audit of the game's art to catch anything else that might have been inappropriately used. Here's the full statement from Joseph Cross during the live stream. So, quote, it came to our attention that an artist who worked on Marathon in the early stages of pre-production took a number of graphic elements from a graphic designer without permission or acknowledgement and placed them on a decal sheet that was then checked in 2020. The decal sheet included icons and text elements. These elements ended up in our alpha build, and there's absolutely no excuse for this oversight. And we are working on and 100% committed to our review process to ensure instances like this don't happen again on Marathon or at Bungie. A few of the things that we've done over the last 24 hours and that we're doing to shore up the review process is as follows. We've reached out to Anti-Real, the artist in question, and followed up to ensure that we do right by this artist. We're auditing all of the previous work by the artists, the internal artists, including the environment decals already in the build, which is part of why we're delaying some of the content we were going to show today. We're committed to removing anything that is questionable or inappropriately sourced. We're doing a very broad decal audit, and if we locate any other details or elements, we'll make sure that these are eliminated or recreated in-house for sure. Hundreds of artists have worked on this project for years, internally and externally, and we share many influences, including modernism, Swiss typography, 2000 style vector art, cyberpunk, and of course the original Marathon trilogy. That is little Chris's dog.
Yeah, little puppy.
Little Ripley. In case you're hearing dogs. Our style is a result of all those inspirations, and it's also worth noting that none of our external partners who have worked on branding or any part of the visual design of our game were involved with this situation. And lastly, personally, I have a huge amount of respect and admiration for artists working independently and producing making a living doing commercial or fine art. We've worked with many of them. It's one of my favorite parts of the job to make those connections, create content and collaborate, and so to that extent I want to send my personal apology to Anti-Real, whose work was used in this case, and I know how unfair this feels, and we're doing everything we can to make this right with her. Her work is fantastic, and we clearly share mutual appreciation for a specific genre of graphic design, and it's very exciting, and I'm excited to folded that into our style in general. So thanks for listening, and thanks for your patience. Chris, the thing I find interesting in those two articles is you have unauthorized art entering into a game. The thing that strikes me most is, are these staff who have to put this art or create this art and put it into the game under huge pressure from the firings and the layoffs that they're dipping into potentially unauthorized art to shore up the lack of work that they needed to have provided?
Very possible. It could be that they're just like it could be an intern for all we know. Just, and the other thing I'm not sure of is, I thought I heard that Anti-Real worked or did work for Bungie at some point.
Oh, really?
I thought I read that there somewhere, so I could be entirely wrong, but that would mean maybe some of these assets were actually on a drive or in a folder somewhere at Bungie, which...
A gray area, potentially.
A super gray area, because a lot of time when you work for these companies, you sign a sort of agreement that any work you do while you work for them, especially on company hours or on company hardware, they just own. The company I work for, let's say if I'm a software engineer, mostly web stuff, but if I were to invent some sort of package to make my job easier, even if it's something that like isn't just purely meant for, like, I didn't do it for the company. Like, they would still own it if I did it on company time, or even if I like made like a video game or something. I think
it'd be
if I did it on company time, they own it.
And I think Luke's had a lot of the same complaints about the animation world, in which when he's finished a project and he's looking to try and get things together for a portfolio, for CVs,
it's a nightmare.
For the projects,
It's
you're basically asking the company for their property, which is stuff that he would have created, which is just seems kind of and not necessarily wrong. I understand the concept behind it, but surely if you have created it yourself, at least the ability to be able to take it and say, this is what I created in a previous role, should be normal and acceptable. But yes, if that's what happened, that's a massive grey area as well. But judging by their apology and how they're going backwards on this, to me it doesn't seem like they took work that was previously on their files created by Israel. Because if that was the case, I think they would have just jumped out and said it was theirs. Do you know what I mean? I think that would have been the safe bet. But the fact that they're making all these apologies makes me think that there was zero right for them to go and use this within their alpha build or the game itself, whatever it might have been.
But the other thing, like, and trust me, I do want to shit on Bungie for this, but it is really that artist's fault for putting them in, because like even I could just go take code from another website and plug it into like whatever I do, and that's still technically like plagiarism, right? If they didn't like open it up, like, you can't use this code for your work. But my management would never know that I've done something like that. It's because they're not auditing everything I do. They don't even understand what they're reading if they look at what I do. So I kind of get.
So, like, I mean,
I wouldn't say Bungie leadership they could be responsible for this. They could have just been like, I don't care, use this, put it out there.
So possibly, and my worry would be is that they might be responsible for, let's say if this is, I mean, we don't know who this is, and I won't speculate on who it is, but let's say the individual in question, because all we've heard about recently is just Bungie making so many layoffs and a tough place to work. So if you're kind of under the cosh to get things done, and there's huge amounts of pressure and people being let go, and you're expected to work with like brand new contractors who might be up to date, but they're demanding that X, Y, and Z is completed by this time, and there's a huge amount of micromanagement, it could be a case where you don't want to lose your job, or you need to get this deadline done, or you could be it could be something in contract that you might lose money by not meeting deadlines, whatever it might be, that they might have been pushed to kind of go, well, I need a hand here. I need to put something in, and maybe taking something that they thought was innocuously and wouldn't be noticed and just throwing it into the game. Not that that's good practice, but it might be a practice that's been done based on the work environment that's in place. If every previous person, staff, has come out and spoken about the highly toxic, micromanaging, terrible leadership within the company. So to me, it all seems related. I think if you had a healthy workplace with a strong vision, good collaboration, teamwork, I don't know if you would have something like this happen. I think you can probably find yourself into a workplace where you might be of the opinion, well, like, well, who cares if it's this work, I'll just throw this in. If that's kind of been from the top down how you feel about your job. Whereas if you take real pride in the work that you're doing and you really want to work for the team that you're in for and the people that manage you, I don't think you see this kind of stuff taking place. So, yes, of course, you can blame the person and the individual who put this in, but to me, it speaks of a bigger problem in the background.
True, yeah. It does seem crazy that like such a flop would happen, at least in the art side, because they went pretty hard with at least that like cinematic trailer they showed. Like they contracted this guy called, I think it's Pinkman TV, but he did a couple of the episodes for Love, Death, and Robots. He's like fantastic artist. So it doesn't seem like they're kind of like pinching their pennies there. So I don't know how, like, maybe it's just paying those contracts so much that they're just like putting all the pressure on their staff, like, potentially, or interns or something. Yeah, because it could have, like I said, it could have just been an intern that just doesn't really know the ropes too well yet.
And Marathon, which is not, because it's not a game like is a first person shooter, F or PvP,
it's
or whatever. Marathon.
Yeah, it's an extraction shooter.
Yeah, haven't really been paying much attention, but it sounds like even the alpha test, everything like that, just didn't go well at all. It seems like it's a game that's in development hell, regardless of everything else.
Yeah, that whole area of gaming right now is just so oversaturated. There's just too much to compete with, and they have already said that they're going to be charging for this one. So how are you going to compete with all the free options out there? It just doesn't make any sense.
It's like, I mean, Concord's although it's not exactly an extraction shooter, but Concord was a defining example from Sony to be like, this game in theory should be free to play.
Yeah,
But
especially
they were charging £40 off the bat, like, you know. It's
yeah,
like,
especially
nope.
like they that was supposed to be a hero shooter, and then like they're going to go up against Marvel Rivals, which is one of the best hero shooters ever released, and that's a free fucking game. Like,
Yeah.
what are you thinking? Like, you got to bring something more to the table here.
That's all I have news-wise for this month. I've got extra bits for our post show, Chris, including updates on the Xbox handheld and developers' thoughts on a GTA 6 delayed date, which is an interesting read. If you guys are interested in checking that out, check out patreon.com/the gift of gaming, where we've got tons of extra news episodes, battle royale episodes, random episodes, all there for the cost of a coffee a month, dirt cheap. Chris, anything else you wanna say today?
No, I think that's everything.
We've covered a miserable news day miserable news month with the
Oh,
exception
it was super.
of Kingdom Hearts. You know,
Yeah. There you go.
the one guiding light.
Yeah,
Chris,
there's
as
another
always.
miss this month, which was Doom: The Dark Ages.
Maybe even should have put the numbers in for that, but that hasn't sold well at all. Sure, it hasn't.
No, because people can't run it. It is just. It's funny. They've gone from like, will it run Doom to like, can it run Doom? Like
a full 180.
They're doing some weird things. Like they're the reason like computers are struggling with it is that it's forced ray tracing, which we're not there yet, man. Like people can't afford that kind of stuff, hardware.
Right. So consoles, is it operating fine, or is this across the board? It seems to have bugs. Or issues.
It's probably optimized for consoles. But yeah, PC gamers kind of expect a little bit of more juice.
Yeah, which is such a shame. Like, I mean, if you can, I just don't know why. I don't know why in this day and age, considering how damaging it could be to a reputation or the idea, your sales, because sales are everything. You're putting this in release day, you're relying on X amount of sales within the first couple of months to why you wouldn't say to yourself, right, well, why you would say to yourself, okay, we have this optimized for Xbox and PlayStation, and there is a massive PC community that want to play this game, but let's not make it easy for them to play. To me, I just think
especially,
it's crazy.
and it's an €80 game. It's one of those. So.
Yeah. Not cheap in the old pocket.
Nope.
€80 and then whatever it takes to update your PC to play forced ray
A
tracing.
few hundred for a fucking new GPU or something. Yeah.
Crazy. And it's a pity because we were looking. I mean, have you any thoughts on that? I was at Gamerfest the week before last. I went into Gamers Fest in Ireland, and they had a section there where you could just play Doom: The Dark Ages, and this was, I think it was a couple of days after release date, so it wasn't anything exceptionally impressive to be like, oh, I got to play it before it's out. But because I didn't have it, or I wasn't going to get it, waiting on Luke to get it on Games Pass so we can all play. But I sat down and played it for a bit, and good fun.
It's meant to be fun.
Yeah, it seemed good fun.
It's supposed to be a bit more of a slower kind of like strategy oriented Doom. Like you got to like stand your ground, like parry and stuff. I think.
Yeah. I was getting,
which is cool. Like at least they're innovating the series, because I mean, how do you fucking perfect what was like Doom Eternal, like just a run and gun?
And I was getting whooped, in fairness, because I went in with the mindset of a Doom Eternal playthrough that I was like jumping into these areas filled with bad guys, being like, I'm going to wreck them, but there's a huge amount of parrying, dodging and stuff that you need to. It's kind of got like I wouldn't necessarily say rogue like in terms of true rogue like, but the enemy, the AoE things that they fire at you, there's a huge amount of dodging, parrying. It's a totally different kind of Doom experience than the one I would have remembered playing Eternal, really. But yeah, I wish them the best luck. I'd be sad if it was a game that was dead in the water, because we all talked about how exciting it would be. We've played a lot of Doom games recently for the podcast. We really need to get back on that train, actually, about Doom.
Yeah. There's too many other options, man.
It's too many good games. Too many really good games at the minute. I think that's it for today, Chris. Check out our post show if you want to, and if you're sitting down playing your Switch 2 on release day, enjoy. I hope it's going to be a hoot. I'm looking forward to sitting down and playing some Mario Kart World myself after I pick it up on my midnight release. But Chris, until next time, thank you so much for hopping on, and to our listeners, as always and forever, keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.